just because you're married doesn't mean you can't leave. I mean, there's tons of people here in the Philippines, both Fil-Am couples and Filipinos,
Filipinos.
that are married but separated. So welcome to another episode of Filipina Life with Mia. No, that was you supposed to say that, right?
You should say.
Go ahead, darling.
So welcome back again to my channel. For today's video, I have here with me my husband, darling, from
Paul's Asian Adventure.
please do check out his channel. And for today's topic, I'm going to ask my husband a very
Contentious?
yeah, very contentious question, since he's married to a Filipina, and
You're a Filipino, aren't you?
no. So I'm going to ask my husband this question that I think most of you all know, would like to know the answer, since you're married to a Filipina. And the question or the topic would be, is it worth it marrying to a Filipina these days in general?
Yes.
You know?
Now, honestly, for me, it was worth getting married to you, right? Because
We're not gonna get into that.
we're not going to get into that. But I would say that things have changed drastically.
Okay.
The first time I came here to the Philippines was 2005. Okay. In 2005, the way I remember it, and maybe I remember it incorrectly, but the way I remember it was that there was almost no single mothers. So because it was considered taboo, for lack of other words, to have a kid out of wedlock.
Yeah.
So that meant that there was very few single mothers, and the girls were a lot more traditional. Very few women here had access to the internet, so they weren't bombarded with all these
Expectations or
not even expectations, all these videos that that influences women in a bad way, I would say.
yeah.
So with that, I think the amount of women today that are traditional in the sense they were in the first time I came here, 2005, I think has gone down drastically. So you ask the question, are Filipinas still worth it? I would say some are, but more and more are becoming not worth marrying.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you can't come here and have a relationship and
Have fun.
have fun and maybe date a girl for a year, it doesn't work out, move on to the next one and so on. But marriage is something that is beyond just a long-term relationship. You're basically committing to this woman and she's committing to you for the rest of your lives. And that doesn't mean like something happens and they're like, oh, I'm out of here, or I'm not happy, so I'm out of here. You're not washing the floor the way you should be, so I don't love you anymore. I'm exaggerating. You know what I mean? But there always seems to be a reason why people end a marriage, even though they swore in front of God and church that they would stay together
through thick and thin.
through thick and thin, through sickness and health and everything,
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't do that these days,
No.
It's the littlest small inconvenience or something better comes along, a better man comes along or a better woman comes along or whatever reason.
Yeah. So
The way people take marriage today is not serious. It's almost like boyfriend, girlfriend. We'll get married and then things don't work out. Well, we'll just go our own way, So it's sad that's gotten to that point, but it has gotten to that point. So as a man, do you want to commit to someone with that background? And I would say probably not, because that girl obviously is getting influenced by her friends, by social media, by culture, and that culture has changed drastically.
yeah, that's true.
So her effort maybe into a marriage won't be
The same as
the way it was. I'm not saying everybody. There are, of course, wonderful women here that will put effort 100% and they're worth marrying. But I'm saying, I think personally, from what I've seen, of course, I haven't lived all over the Philippines and I haven't been to every village and everything, but logic dictates that that percentage of those women that are worth marrying is decreasing. And it's actually decreasing drastically, I would say. However, and this is a very important part to remember, the percentage of women worth marrying here is so much higher than in the West, you know. So
you get a better deal.
you get a
in
better
way.
deal. But then again, as a man, you got to ask yourself, is it worth marrying with these conditions that are now becoming worse and worse and worse? And I would say you have to really think about it. Depends where you want to go, why you're getting married. You always got to
You
ask
always-
yourself,
yeah.
why are you getting married? Some people get married for the wrong things. It's like they think, well, I'm getting married because I want to secure this guy or I want to secure this girl and I don't want to lose them, right? That's the wrong way to think about marriage, right?
Yeah.
When you get married, you're trying to build something together. And if you're just scared of losing that person, I mean, marriage won't stop a person from leaving.
No.
We know this, so
So it's like the internet, first and foremost,
yes.
has influenced a lot of Filipina or most of the Filipinos these days, especially the younger generations.
Very, yeah.
As you all know, the younger generations these days, they have a higher standard. They put a standard of what a man should give,
Kind of like in the West.
what a man should give to them and into the relationship. And it's not about, what a woman can bring to the table. It's
All about what
it's
a
all
man
about what a man could bring to the table,
give to her.
and what she can get from it. So it's more on like transactional.
Like a whore. No,
It's like you're paying for a service in a way, right? So with the internet, of course, the culture change, right? It goes from good to bad.
yeah. And the reason that's happened is because cell phones have become so cheap. Mobiles have become so cheap.
It is.
As an
We
example,
actually got a
yeah,
cheap-
go ahead.
We actually got a cheapest phone.
Not the
Not
cheapest.
the cheapest, but
We paid 7,000 pesos, which is
a good deal.
120, 130 USD. And, I mean, the phone is fine.
Yeah,
Takes
yeah.
okay
It's a backup
pictures.
phone anyway.
It's a backup phone. So, I mean, we saw even cheaper phones, like 4,000.
Yeah.
And when we say backup phone, we have our like security codes for the banks and all that in there. We just leave that one at home, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's become so cheap for the cell phones, and they get cheaper, it seems like monthly.
Can do loan.
And, you can go to the poorest neighborhood in the Philippines. I mean, poor of the poorest.
The slum
and
area.
everybody, not everybody, but you'll see a lot of smartphones there.
Yeah.
And people on their smartphones.
Yeah.
Because somehow they can afford the internet, they can afford the cell phone. And, the girls are online chatting with tons of guys, getting money sent to them, more money than they could imagine, probably more money than their father is
Yeah.
making. So why not? And then it becomes this circle of
Greediness in a way.
degradation of the culture, degradation of family, degradation of like the woman and the femininity and like what a woman is worth to a man for marriage. So with that happening, it becomes less and less attractive for a man to marry a woman.
Yeah.
Why would you, right? You got to think to
I
yourself, why would you? As a man, when you come here, what's the advantage of getting married, right?
Yeah, that's the
If
question.
you're staying here in the Philippines, there is actually no advantage. Absolutely none as a man to get married to a woman. The only reason I would say a man's getting married to a woman here, no, that's not right. I wouldn't say that. But sometimes I would say that men get married to women, and I've seen it, actually know people have done this,
Really?
because they're scared of losing that woman. They don't have the mindset of
They have the mindset of scarcity.
scarcity. They have a
Yeah.
scarcity mindset, not an abundance.
No.
And because probably in the West they didn't get any women, and they come here and they have that same mindset, even though they've watched videos and they know
Yeah.
things change, but they just have that mindset of scarcity, you know. So they find a woman and they hang on to her for dear life, and like they're so scared of losing her, they probably end up marrying her, right? And maybe it's the same with a Filipina. When they meet a guy that they think is wonderful, they want to marry him because they want to secure him, right?
Yeah.
But as we know, marriage these days means less and less, right? I mean, just because you're married doesn't mean you can't leave. I mean, there's tons of people here in the Philippines, both Fil-Am couples and Filipinos, that are married but separated, or in Fil-Am couples, sometimes the am part goes home, right?
Divorce.
Gets a divorce there, comes back, and then the female here, the Filipina, she will
Recognition of divorce.
recognition of foreign divorce. I
Yeah.
think is something she files for that, and it's actually not a difficult process from what I've heard from others. So then they're divorced. So just because people get married, it doesn't mean they're going to be together forever. So then the question is, why go through that hassle?
Yeah.
You know.
That's so true. Because
So you're
like,
probably wondering why I went through that hassle, aren't you?
so it's like you say for the most part it's not really worth getting married these days then. Like the Philippines.
No, I don't want to say that.
Uh-huh.
What I'm saying is the percentage of women
Yeah.
in the Philippines worth getting married to is getting less and less.
Okay.
However, that percentage is much larger than the percentage in the West. And then you got to ask yourself, why are you getting married, right?
You have to have a specific reason why you're getting married.
Yeah, you can't just say, I love that girl, so I'm going to marry her.
You can be in a relationship and still love her and be with her, right?
Yeah.
Without
And that's what a
signing
lot of people.
paper.
That's what a lot of people do, because as a man, when you come over and you marry a girl, the risk to you is much higher. The benefit to the woman is much higher, but the risk to the man is much higher. So why risk something when you don't have to, right?
That's true.
So, but there are reasons to get married, and I don't have to go into that. But like maybe you want to build something together, maybe you want to have kids, maybe you want to travel the world. There are reasons to get married, but you got to ask yourself when you get married, why am I getting married, right?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Is the risk worth the reward? So if I was going to wrap it up here and I'd say, is it worth getting married? Sorry, I know I talk a lot, but is it worth getting married? I would say yes, if you meet the right girl. And how do you know if you met the right girl or not? To me, the history of a girl defines the future of a girl. So if you meet a girl that's 30 years old and has been with 10 different foreigners,
then you know.
I'm not saying you know, but there's the preponderance of evidence or the likelihood of something going wrong.
The probability.
The probability of something going wrong will increase, right? So you want the probability of something going wrong as small as possible.
Yep.
So that's why they say it's better to meet someone from the countryside, you know, someone, what do you call it? Not the countryside, but the
province girl.
The province girl. Sorry, my mind just went blank. The province girls, right? Because more than likely, they haven't been online that much.
She's not influenced.
More than likely, they have more. They have, what do you call it? More of a family unit. More than likely, they have more traditional values, right? So, so that's probably a lot better if you're gonna meet for marriage. Now, if you're, doesn't mean you can't meet a good girl in a place like Dumaguete or Cebu City, but the probability is much less. So, with that, I'll wrap it up, and good luck to you all if you're getting married.
Well, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.
See you all, and good luck to everybody. Think before you get married. and enjoy the life in the Philippines, whichever way you choose to go. Paul's Asian Adventure.
Yo.